For a long time, I thought that I was what I was and I couldn't change that. Then, over the years, I've learned that the way that I act, the way that I behave, the way that I am in relationships, the way I show up in life, I could actually change it. I could change it in a ways that were more aligned on how I was feeling about myself. So for many, many years, I always thought like, oh, also it's because my mom used to tell me, well, this is the way you are. That's it. You're not gonna change. So I have also that kind of environment around me that was kind of like, okay, this is the way I am. I cannot change. I, I was just born that way. And no, no, I didn't feel good with myself for many years. The way that I react about situations or the way that I was behaving with the society and why I was kind of being people pleaser just because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be liked. Those behaviors with other people and the way that I was feeling about myself because I was jealous or I had envy about other people's success or when they had better grades than me, I will be very competitive. I want to be better, but not better for myself. I wanted to be better because I wanted to be better than someone else. All that competition, all that pressure, I was not feeling good about myself. Like I didn't like myself. I was like, it is really this is the only way I can be, or I've learned to be this way because of the environment that I've been in, that I developed those behaviors, those traits because of the environment I grew up in, instead of that's my identity, this is who I am. And that was a big shit in my life because when I left home, when I left all the people that I used to live with and then the people that I grew up with, and I started to be alone, I had the opportunity to, well, I used to think like this way, I used to behave this way because that was the environment I was in. But once I got out of those environments and I started traveling and being in another environments and new cultures, with other people with a different background and a different culture, as I said, and a different way to live, different lifestyle, then I've learned that, well, my identity is not what I thought I was. It's something I've learned. If I could learn that, I can unlearn it and I can learn what aligns and fits the best for me and what makes me feel better. And honestly, as I said in my previous video, which was, why growth can be lonely sometimes, and I felt very lonely because I went out there by myself and start over by learning different ways to think, different ways to behave, different traits, different way to do things. It's like I didn't have to be jealous or be envy of someone else because they have more money or they had more skills or they have another kind of intelligence that maybe I didn't have because I had another type of intelligence. Like I stopped comparing myself that way because I'm like, and I've learned like, okay, my biggest competition my biggest obstacle and my biggest limitation, it was my mindset, myself. It was me. I was my biggest enemy. Nobody cares that much about who I was or what I had or what I was doing. Nobody cared that much. Like, they were too worried, caring about themselves. That was a big realization in my life, and I have to say that all that way of thinking, it helped me a lot in my journey to Canada, but as well in Latin America. It helped me a lot. All my biggest realizations and changes of my identity, my way to think about how life, how society works, it's been through my traveling around the world for many years. This realization about that my identity is not just who I am, but it's what I've been, the influence of the things around me, of the people around me, and how things work around me more than myself. I'm learning that I can change myself and I can get new perspectives and I can learn ways to act, to show up in life, and to be better in the way that I feel most aligned, not better than anything else. It's been a big change and big epiphany thing in my life. It was a turning point in my life. But also it was not easy, because every time I come back home, come back home meaning where my family lives, they still know me as who I was in the past. They associate me with the person I was when I was with them in the past. So it's sometimes a bit complex. It's not easy. However, having this freedom of I can choose who I am, I can choose that my identity, the identity that I want, not the identity that I had to assume because I was born somewhere, or because I was grew up somewhere else, or because of the people around me, the environment, which influence a lot. I felt like, I think that I'm learning this mindset of who I am is the way I am. I'm learning that it's a process of building yourself through your life. I found it a very fascinating way to see who I am, what's my identity. So yeah, and I appreciate a lot all the people that I've met in my life that taught me something. Even though that if I just met them for 1 hour a day, 1 hour and just one day, or just one day, because I could take what works for me and add it on who I am. And I found it beautiful having some lessons from different circumstances, different people, different countries, different cultures, different societies, part of me as my identity.